Hello, Cap&GOWN scholars. My name is Mary Emery. I'm a recent graduate of Mae Jemison High School, and I am now a Cap&GOWN teacher slash coach. So today our topic is main idea. I'm going to have multiple videos on specific skills for attacking the reading ACT, and today I felt that going over the main idea was pretty imperative. So I want to just go ahead and jump right into it, not one for wasting time. So here we go. So, big dramatic entrance, the main idea. It is one of the most hated questions on the ACT. A lot of times they can most definitely stop you in your track at the drop of a dime. So, you're just going on about your merry way, and then suddenly you have a question that you may not know how to answer. And for those who skim, picking out major themes can be super difficult, and that's what I want to go over today. There's usually about 4 on the entire test because there's like 1 per passage, and sometimes it's not asking for the main idea of the entire passage, but rather one specific paragraph. But the tips and tricks I'm about to give you still apply. So, first you want to identify the main subject. Who and what are we talking about? So, what is the story talking about? Is the story talking about someone who gets on a train and leaves their entire life behind? Are we talking about specifically some animal? Are we talking about a dog? Maybe it's from his perspective somehow. Like, who and what are we talking about? What's going on? Places that are mentioned. So that falls into the where. There's a lot of who, what, when, where, and why, if you couldn't tell. So where are they going? Where did they come from? Why are they going there? Which is our why. So, why is whoever we're talking about going to this place? Other people in the story. So, maybe family members of the main character. Anybody else who's brought up. So more into the who. Events that occur. So if there's any pivotal moment, if there's any climax in the story, that's considered an event. Any times they mention. A lot of times with social sciences, there will be times in history and stuff like that they bring up, and it has relevance. Why is it in there? And then overall, why are we talking about them? Why are they important? What is their story? Like, what's going on? Like, why? Just biggest thing is why. And then how is this relevant? Is something that like you really want to keep in the back of your mind. Like, how does this pertain to me? Like, why do I need to read this? The perspective is another thing you want to kind of get a grip on. So, who is the narrator and what exactly is their point of view? So, use context clues to determine the mood of the narrator, and that way you can gain their perspective on the story. Keep in mind kind of sort of how they fit in. Is the narrator also the main character? Or do they know the main characters? Is someone related to them? Try to keep all those things in mind. But when I say use context clues, so say they're using words like it was a dark and gloomy day. That kind of clues you in how they're feeling in that moment in time. Definitely keep that in mind. For example, a sad scientist talking about bioluminescence. Why? Like, that's the narrator. That's what they're talking about. That's the context clues. It tells you that they're sad. Go on from there to tell me why. Well, why is the narrator like why? I'm sorry, like it's just a lot of why. But the narrator's perspective can really grant massive insight into the main idea because they're the ones talking. They're the ones telling you this story. So it really does matter if they're telling you a story about themselves. So a sad scientist is talking about how bioluminescence, like experimenting with that on poor innocent animals, made him quit his job. Or if they're talking about somebody else they know who experiences, if it's in the third person, that matters. Who's telling the story really does matter because maybe it can bring to the forefront different themes that you may not have gotten if, say, the story's about a child. Maybe hearing from their perspective isn't necessarily beneficial because children don't have the most complex minds, if that makes sense. That's just an example. So then it comes the main theme and the purpose. What kind of story is it? Is it fiction? Is it nonfiction? Is it a thriller? Is it Is it supposed to teach you something? What happens? And then what is the theme? What's the moral of the story? Are there even lessons to learn? All of this is really important because when you get to the main idea, and your main idea as a whole is the purpose of this story. So that's where you want to go ahead and put all of this together. You want to go ahead and put together the characters, what they're doing, why they're doing it, why the narrator thinks it's important to tell you, and then if there's a lesson to be learned from the story, to put that all together and say, a sad scientist went out of his way to go out, reach out to the world and tell them about how horrible it is that people are experimenting on animals. And it's so sad, it's so heartbreaking. The lesson is don't experiment on animals. So then the main idea of this entire passage is experimenting on animals with bioluminescence is wrong and cruel. You shouldn't do that. It's not good for everything that's going on in the world. It's just not good in general. And I know that's kind of like a really bad example, but that's how you combine everything together. When you break it down, it's a lot simpler than it seems when you have everything just spread out before you. When you're just looking at words on a page, trying to figure out how it all matters, what it all means, how it all connects. So definitely try to break everything down into its individual pieces and go from there. So additional resources, feel free as a Cap&GOWN scholar to contact me with any questions whatsoever. Maybe you want a better example of main idea. Maybe I was a little bit ambiguous. Go ahead and message me about that. If you choose to use my phone number, texts are always preferred simply because scam phone calls are a thing. I don't always answer. Sometimes I may be asleep, like maybe I'm working on something. Could just be on the phone with someone else. I'm preoccupied in something. So definitely texts are preferred if you're going to reach out to me through my phone. But my email is marian@capandgownproject.org, and my phone number is 256-604-6918. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I just got one question. Where are you going? Thank you.